This is Best New Indie, and we are here with Tom from Buzzard 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 at Rough Trade. And we've just seen you play, and it was absolutely brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Mostly songs off the new album, was it? Did you play
entirely?
Entirely.
Yeah.
Okay, well spotted from me.
Yeah, it's just because we're on the new we're on like a record store tour for the new record, so it's just new. I think we played everything on the album except a song in the middle. It's a bit hard to pull off live.
Okay.
So it's been cool.
Yeah, and have you got some more dates after this? More signing stuff?
Yeah, we do. We're in Leeds tomorrow, then we're in Liverpool on Friday, and then we're in Rough Trade West in London on Saturday.
Okay, fantastic. So I was going to ask you, so I've been running my blog for a few years and I was really into the previous album, Backhand Deals. But so tell me about that and what you did around that time. And
sort of hard to remember now, but I think around that time I was really obsessed with Steely Dan, and I think I was trying to create I think with any record I have this kind of thing of just like committing myself to a vibe.
Right.
Or like a kind of not as much a concept, but a kind of a loose, not like in writing, but just in like something to aim for when you're working on a sort of broader project. I think is good. And with that one, I think I was just trying to make the cleanest record we could make.
Right.
Because I was really into like those old 70s bands like Steely Dan, like Cheap Trick, and all those kind of like power pop bands.
Oh yeah.
And so I really wanted to make something that just sounded of that era, but had something that pulled it into the kind of modern era, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and the image was quite different. The hair was different. Glastonbury, you were wearing a blue jumpsuit.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Yeah. But yeah, that was kind of like part and parcel of it, was just trying to commit ourselves to this sort of glam rock thing. The one thing from the first record and stuff, I never wanted us to be like this pastiche kind of band, because it's really hard to walk that line when you're in like a kind of band that is like reminiscent of 70s bands.
Yeah.
Like people can just very easily say like, oh, it's very School of Rock of you, or like it's very like pastiche of you. Yeah. So I didn't really want to hang on to the look, because it just felt like I was creating my whole identity was kind of revolving around like this haircut. Do you know what I mean? Just got rid of it, you know.
So let's bring into 2024.
Yeah.
And suddenly appeared a Buzzard Buzzard Buzzard, which were darker, grittier, with a shaven head.
Yes. The new record was kind of written in from the perspective of having like struggling a bit with like sort of mental health stuff.
Yeah.
And like the shaving of the head was kind of in response to that as well. It was kind of like trying to create like a new person out of
like
that.
Like a Britney Spears moment.
For sure.
Sort of.
Yeah. With less intensity.
Less
maybe.
intense.
Just, more of a dulcet tone. Shaving my head.
So let's go through the album then. So we're going to give it Album of the Week. Because we want to, and it's brilliant. So the first track on that album is National Rust.
Yeah.
So what is National Rust?
So I was driving. Well, the basis of the song was like I was driving behind a guy who had like a National Trust bumper sticker, but the T had fallen off it, and I thought it was like some joke bumper sticker. So I found it pretty funny, but I actually realised because it had the logo and stuff above it that actually just the T had fallen off. So it just said National Rust like on the back of his car, which I found very funny.
Yeah. And
it kind of tied in at the time with like I did a lot of like sort of political songwriting on the first record,
right?
And I was kind of, again, similarly to the hair thing, I was kind of just like wanted to write something that spoke about how I'm kind of done with like the political writing thing. I think because it was just like I feel like political music these days comes from a lot of people who are like trying to convince you of their viewpoint, and there's so many viewpoints and it just gets lost and it's just like not really useful.
Yeah.
So it was kind of just written around that and how kind of our country, the UK especially, is kind of going to shit, but it's kind of hard to comment on it because everybody's commenting on it as well. So it's kind of about that, kind of giving up on the. It's nice as an exposition on the record as well, because it sets the tone and the pace for a new kind of sound and a new kind of exposition lyrically and all that stuff.
Yeah. So then it goes into Chew.
Chew is literally just about my dog.
Who's called Chew? Or?
Yeah, sorry?
Your dog is called Chew?
No, my dog's called Norma. But she's a very big dog. She's a deer hound, so she's pretty huge, and people are very scared of her. So I wrote a song basically just making fun of the fact that everybody's scared of her and that she could eat you if she wanted to. And that's it. And I think loads of people try to, in the reviews and stuff that we got from it,
they're reading into it,
trying to theorise that it was about my life or something, but it's literally just about my dog.
Yeah. Maybe it's somewhere about your life. But,
yeah, maybe something deeper.
So another dog-related track.
Yes.
Next is your star sign.
Yes, my star sign is a Basset Hound. That one was kind of like, I joked that one was written because of Ethan, because of a story he told me, but as with all songwriting, what I tend to kind of do is like take something funny and then try and make it about my own life in a way.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like the whole thing is written around how I'm pretty keen to be a dog for anybody really, and I'm just kind of into validation. Do you know what I mean? I kind of just only want to be validated, and it's something that I sort of realised, and kind of something I gave up on being ashamed of. Yeah. Which is just kind of like, hey, I just want to be somebody's dog, you know? So yeah, it's just about that, just wanting to be told what to do as opposed to making the decisions for yourself. You know? Yeah.
Next track is a sugar sandwich. Now, have you ever eaten a sugar sandwich?
I can't say I have.
No.
But a friend of mine in school, I remember he came in with sugar sandwiches when I was in primary school because, unfortunately, because his parents didn't have a lot of money and there was no money. Wasn't like free school meals and stuff like that in the school that I was in. But it was kind of, that song was kind of me lamenting on like when Liz Truss kind of like wrecked the economy.
Yeah.
Kind of like how she kind of fucked the whole situation, and maybe at some point in this sort of in the near future, kids will go back to eating sugar sandwiches. You know?
Yeah. Okay, so the next track on the album is The Drowning Bell.
The Drowning Bell is kind of a weird one because it's one we haven't played live yet, but it was kind of for the whole concept of the record, I kind of invented this kind of like sci-fi-esque kind of story where if you imagine you're in a theme park and one of the rides is like inviting you to take a trip into your own mind.
Wow.
And like you think it's going to be fun because you think it's going to be this thing of being like, oh, I'll see myself for all of its glory and everything that's going on inside my brain. It'd be really fun.
Yeah.
But then when you get in there, all you see is kind of hell, and it's kind of not what you expected at all. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like this dramatic realization that actually you might be mentally unwell. Kind of based on a film called Mad God, which is by the guy, I can't remember his name, but he's the guy who did all the stop motion animation for Jurassic Park. Okay. And he worked on a film called Mad God for 20 years. And then released it. And it's about this little plasticine guy who goes through different layers of hell on a diving bell. So I took that and kind of like repurposed it for the song.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
So in your head, was not pretty.
No, and well, it was just kind of like I kind of wrote it from the perspective of imagining being in like a kind of lift, and then like every floor you go down, the doors open and you see a section of your mind. You know,
right?
So it was kind of like just describing each floor of my mind. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of just like the anxious level, just being like just seeing every dog I've ever had just running away from me, stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Just like weird stuff.
Yeah.
And a chance to be spooky as well, which is always good.
Yeah. So the next track, Leatherbound.
Leatherbound is about...
a book, no?
No. It's about Ethan. Again, it's another thing of like, kind of had a fun idea. Like, Ethan was working a lot as a chef, and his hands were just getting...
Ethan is the drummer?
He's the drummer, yeah. And he was getting kind of like... His hands were getting really leathery and kind of like... Because he was burning them all the time. So they're getting very thick and like callousy and leathery.
Right.
And so I just found it funny, and I just decided to write about that, but then kind of repurposed it for how I work too much, and kind of made it a song about working too much.
Yeah.
So yeah, and just pretty fun. Again, like I think it's a lot more fun to talk about personal experience through the lens of kind of like batshit crazy lyrics.
Yeah.
Instead of being a bit overly literal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And create some kind of like horror landscape.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next one is all about eggs.
In my egg.
Yes.
Yeah. That one I wrote because I was up in a cottage in like Cornwall, like writing songs. Yeah. And it was a bit of a fucking nightmare. It was, I thought it was going to be really fun, but it actually devolved into this kind of.
Were you on your own or?
Hellish scene. I was with my dog.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I thought it was going to be great, and I thought I was going to write loads of stuff, but I ended up just writing like 20 awful songs. But one of the songs I wrote was this song.
Yeah.
And it was basically just all about wanting to go home and being in bed because I was, just so kind of...
How long were you there for?
I was there for like 5 days, and I ran out of food. And it was just bad. It was just really bad. I fucked it entirely.
So the record company were like, where's all the songs?
Yeah, well, I had written pretty much all the album already, and they seemed hell-bent on me writing more songs, which is... I suppose it's good, they're there to support me, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So at the end of that, I concluded with them.
Yeah.
No more isolated songwriting trips.
No, exactly. So now therapy and that video, you might want to explain to viewers what happens in the video.
Yes, well, it depends there's 2 videos for it now. But I mean, yeah, therapy was just a song because I was going to therapy at the time. And
Okay.
I was it was the first time I'd gone in my life. And I was really excited about it. And when I started going, I sort of started thinking about how many friends I had that should go.
Yeah.
But probably wouldn't be convinced to go because of all the stuff that surrounds it.
What sort of therapy was it? Just talking?
Just talking, just talking. It was class, it was great. It was the best thing that's ever happened to me by far.
Wow.
But it was kind of about the feelings I was having kind of before going to therapy as well.
Yeah.
Kind of had this kind of like idea in my head that when I went there in my first session and talked about my stuff, the therapy would just like laugh at me and just like treat me like I was a piece of dirt, do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Which is where the kind of lyrics in the middle 8 kind of come from, is kind of being like having this perception. I think the main reason why a lot of people don't go to therapy is because they're kind of scared of facing up to somebody who might be like, really? That's what you're worrying about, you know?
Yeah. I don't think, I think
that's not the reality.
Yeah, they're there to listen on there. They're there to help.
It was kind of shot when we were doing the album cover. Because I just wanted to shoot something a bit spooky, so it's just mainly, I think it's like 4 minutes of us just driving around in the woods, and then the car kind of, when the whole thing kind of drops into the solo section, there's like, you just see the Skinwalker, you know?
Who is you,
Which is me.
With no clothes on. Covered in Vaseline?
No hair, covered in goo made out of methyl cellulose and hot water.
Okay.
Which you can buy methyl cellulose on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, excellent. I'll
it's a
put
food thickener. It's like
it's
like an E.
Was there a reason for that?
I just wanted to look like I had just transformed into a human.
Oh,
Do you know what I
okay.
mean? Do you know what I mean? So I was still
Yeah.
kind of dripping with sort of embryonic
Something from Poltergeist or
stuff.
something.
Yeah, or like when Neo wakes up in the Matrix,
yes.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
And the rest of the band weren't convinced to do the same in the video.
No, I did say, I
Yeah.
did tell them, I did ask, but they weren't.
They weren't.
It was fully my journey.
So, I mean, what is a Skinwalker?
I think it's like some kind of like beast in like Navajo culture, like a Native American sort of thing.
So it's not made up?
No, well, it is made up.
Yeah.
But like, you know, it's...
of course, it's not real.
Yeah,
well, it might be, but...
Yeah, it's like... You know, I only got the idea because I was watching this show called Unknown Mysteries on Netflix, and they were talking about how they had seen Skinwalkers or something like that, and I just thought it was funny. It was also a funny metaphor for me in terms of the whole therapy perspective thing of thinking about the negative you. Do you know what I mean? Or like the version of you in your own mind that is like causing you anxiety or pain or whatever. Yeah. And I sort of started imagining that as like an inner sort of Skinwalker, sort of demon sort of thing. Yeah. So the kind of vision of the Skinwalker is kind of the all the worst parts of you. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's kind of the last song, Night of the Skinwalker, as well, is kind of makes references to that, which is like you're trying to like kill through the process of therapy or like getting better or getting over your own shit. It's like you're just trying to kill that inner Skinwalker in you. You know.
Human Compression.
Human Compression. Was just a song. Yeah, it was just a song about my landlord like knocked the back half of my flat off.
Right.
Yeah, he just turned up one day and was like, "We need to take the back half of your entire flat off."
Right.
And so it was just a song about how shit landlords are, really. Because
so does it kind of come with the idea for a title of a song, or does it like a concept for something?
Yeah, I usually start with a title because usually I find I can't get excited about anything if it doesn't have a title first. Okay. And I don't know. I feel 99% of the time I feel that a lot of writing lyrically is very average and very plain, and there aren't a lot of words or a lot of writing that really get me excited. Yeah. Unless they're kind of these days, unless they're kind of Shakespearean and kind of I don't know, almost like medieval and kind of scary. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I kind of need to start from that perspective. Yeah. Otherwise, I find myself digging for stuff and it all ends up.
So it starts with the lyrics then.
Yeah. Well, I think it starts kind of with an idea for a song.
Okay.
And then usually, if I have the song name, I can usually imagine what the song's going to sound like.
What, the tune in your head?
Yeah.
And the guitar parts and everything else?
Yeah, just usually what the vibe is, and then you can kind of have fun chasing it from there. Okay. But if I don't have the thing, then I'll end up playing just like metal riffs for like 6 hours. And just.
So are there any sort of bands that you're listening to or have influenced you on this?
It's really just Sabbath. I mean, I've just been listening to Black Sabbath pretty much non-stop.
Good.
Black Sabbath and like Rainbow and like Deep Purple. Yeah.
My sister used to love Rainbow.
Yeah, fucking Rainbow. That Rising record is amazing. And Deep the Purps. Just love the Purps. And just all those old heavy rock bands.
Yeah.
That I loved when I was a kid, and when I got into the Beatles, then when I was a bit older, I kind of just like rejected because I thought it was silly music.
Right.
But just kind of came back to because it's just like I don't think you can beat the visceral feeling of just like really loud pumping rock music. Basically.
No, you can't. Yeah. Okay, thanks ever so much.
Thank you very much. Class.